is Shiloh Media Broadcasting Service. We are on to News and View. Today we are going to bring to us happenings around our world. Various happenings that are wonderful, that you will be happy to hear. You'll be happy to listen to. If you miss this show, if you tune off from this show, I bet you it's going to be a loss. I want to advise you to stay tuned. This is Shiloh Media Broadcasting. Today we are going to be looking at happenings like a student that made attempts to commit suicide. We're going to be looking at, of course, it's no longer in news, the Ondo State governorship election that took place last week. We're going to be looking at all this, and we're going to look at the happenings surrounding it. I want to ask that you follow us and like our YouTube, shiloh.media.online, and also our Facebook, shiloh.media/facebook.com. Like I said, this is Shiloh Broadcasting Service, and we are going to be looking at all this. The news highlights. Oluwafemi University, Ile-Ife, Osun State, plans to offer waivers to students facing prolonged academic years. The initiative follows a suicide attempt by second-year students overwhelmed by academic challenges, prompting the university senate to take compassionate action. This measure aims to create a supportive academic environment and prevent further incidents suicide related to academic stress, due to academic stress. While the university has expressed commitment to these steps, they have not yet been formalized into official policy. These moves highlight the university growing focus on students' mental health and proactive intervention. Mr. Jerry Aloma is with me, and I'm sure he's going to do justice to all these issues of our discussion today. Mr. Jerry Aloma,
yeah,
what have you to say concerning these incidents?
Yeah, good afternoon. There's one thing concerning these incidents that just happened last week. But there's another thing I would love you to know. Basically, this is a very interesting side to consider how we could actually solve issues surrounding us, specifically in schools. There are so many stress facing students in schools, basically. So many, anybody that have passed through the walls of school, you will definitely know that they go through emotional stress, mental stress, just to balance things. Most especially the fact that the secondary school environment is far, far different from the university environment, where there is no mother, no father to give those emotional support. When you are in secondary school, you can always go home. You can report one or two cases to your mom, your close ones, your loved ones. They are always there to give you this emotional support. But the university setting is quite different. So bringing up this initiative is really, really a big one, so to say, because it is just a way to reduce the pressure. It is just because we have so many students who are on campus who are not even, they don't have someone who are actually sponsoring or supporting one way or the other. So this one is going to be a very, very big relief to students, basically.
I want to agree with Mr. Jerry Alomatu. And Mr. Jerry, can I ask you, can universities provide more than just academics assistance?
Definitely. There are so many ways we assist students, because not just the academic area alone. Someone will say, when students go to school, they are not just going there for academics. They are learning so many things, and so many factors have to be put together in order to achieve all of these aims. One of it is this emotional, how to cope during all of this trauma. You will say the emotional disorder definitely has something that causes it. But one way to prevent all of these things is when schools provide the needful, good environments, good facilities, all of the necessities that aid good living. Another one is the guidance and counselor in schools. Many schools are overlooking this. They see no fact, they see Nigeria, we don't really have emotional stress. We are not like the whites, or so to say. But I tell you, all of them have a role to play in the school environment. The guidance and counselor team knows, when we see the expert, they knows how to uh, question, how to tackle, how to help and support students facing all of these distresses. So it is one other way they can help, not only in the academic area, not only everything from class, back home, assignments, exam, test, and all of that. It will be too much on students, and many cannot cope with such environment.
You mentioned conducive environments. Can you explain what environment can we call good environment for learning?
Well, that's a very beautiful one. Not many schools have good facilities or good environmental atmosphere. Many of them, if you get to some schools, the way they carry out their hygiene or whatever, where they dump their bins and all of that, they don't really take it seriously. Uh, Although many of the federal schools are trying to keep up the pace, because private schools, I will tell you, when it comes to conducive environments, I can give them 100 over 100. Many of them. One of it is Caleb University. Its environment is quite conducive for students. If you go down to the pitch, they have the basketball courts, have all of this one that can make them, at least you are not having everything academics. By 4 o'clock, I believe, they go to the field, they exercise, they do everything. It's a form that they use to relieve stress, to relieve that border of I have physics assignment, I have chemistry assignment, I have whatever course assignment to do. It is a way to relieve, and it helps. It goes a very long way. Many of the students, this is what they do while in their various houses. They go from school, they go home, play football, they mingle with friends and all of that. Now you are bringing them to another environment or a different environment. It will be very difficult to cope without all of these things in place. So when we talk about good environment, I tell you, the sporting activities is one of the areas that could aid all of this.
I still want to agree with Mr. Jerry Aloma. Before we go on a short break, it appears you know much about Caleb University. Can you tell me sporting activities? In what way do you think, what can you say about Caleb University's sporting activities? And putting in mind we are talking about conducive environment that could aid academics performances and helping them to overcome stressful academic challenge.
Well, when we talk about Caleb University particularly, when you get to the Caleb entrance, you have 2 pathways with beautiful flowers, I believe, by the, I think, center of the road. Now, when you move downwards, you see hostels. Now, coming down to the sporting complex, you have the pitch. I tell you, most times when you go there, you can have 10 different sets of teams playing at the same time. So the sporting arena is taken into good consideration. Earlier this year, they had a VC's Cup. At the moment,
VC Cup,
yes,
VC's Cup, you say?
yes. At the moment, one is even ongoing. So these are little ways schools can also adapt and learn. Caleb University has always shown all of these good, conducive. You hardly, when you move on the street of Caleb,
What does it involve? Just football?
Not just football. Like I said, you see the basketball court, you see volleyball court, you see the footballing. They also do these indoor games, table tennis. You see Ludo, chess, and all of that. So all these are ways that students can drift away from just academics. Yes, there is a time for academics, but once everything is just academics, 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 we've heard different scenarios. This is not the first that we hear a student wanted to. We've even had situation whereby a student, just because of the pressure he gets from maybe submitting project and all of that, ends it. He looks at it that what is remaining. Maybe after submitting the first manuscript, submit the second one, submit the third one, and then everything is denied, or is not granted, or is not given permission to go ahead. Many of them either drop out because they cannot face it anymore. Many of them might just decide to just opt out of school, and some might even end it and then commit suicide. It depends on how well they can actually control and be able to navigate when all of this stress, emotional stress and mental stress, starts knocking.
That's a good one from Mr. Alomatu. We are going on a short break. Stay tuned. We are on. We are on. We started by discussing a student that made suicide attempts. I'm Oluwafemi Agboola. And
I'm Jerry Alomatu.
for those who are just joining us, this is Shiloh Media Broadcasting. And Mr. Alomatu has been doing justice to the issue on discussion. I want to ask Mr. Mr. Jerry Alomatu, should university also teach life skills and coping mechanisms?
Yes, that is a very good one. That's a good one, because it is something that I could have just forgotten, because it is basically one thing that is not in our curriculum. Skills and coping mechanisms. It will really be of great help to students, especially when we have these younger generations getting into school very early. Many of these things are not taught in secondary school, neither are they taught in primary schools or even the university settings. So all of this coping mechanism helps. One thing that puts people under stress and all of this pressure is when they don't know how to use their time. Time management is key. That is one of the skill that is not taught anywhere. If you mention all of the subjects done from primary school, secondary school, there's nothing like time management. But time management, I tell you, would help relieve many of the pressures and whatever depression that they might run into. Talking from the angle where I started from, saying that so many of them, projects, issues could make them think of ending it or what have you. If a student who understand the kind of courses he is going to be offering. I know a boy like that. We were in school together. I remembered as soon as we were entering 400 level, he was done with his project. I mean, as soon as we were coming in 400 level, after we had our IT 300 level after second semester, coming in 400 level, he was done with his project. He just had to went to meet the lecturer. He did it well in a way that even the corrections that were made weren't that significant because he has taken his time. He understands the theory. The young man I'm talking about, actually, he doesn't have the supports like many students do have, like the parental support, guardian support. So he understands that resuming back to school, he might not be having so much time to devote to his own personal project because he already envisaged that okay, so many students will be needing help when we talk about projects. So what he did was he did his ahead so that he could get that one out of his way. So whenever he's getting work to do from other person's project, he already has enough time to carry them out. When others are struggling projects, struggling the normal courses, struggling assignments, how to read up for tests, all of that, he has done many of it ahead. Someone who knows him or they did their IT together in the same place, the girl said this guy would be reading while even carrying out his duties wherever he's doing his IT. He will read. He has collected handouts ahead, reading for the 400 level. So many of what he comes to do in the next section is just like revision because he has created time, he has allotted time, he knows how to manage his time properly. It is not when exam is coming, he's carrying book. Now he has to carry 6 books at the same time. No. So time management is a skill that the university setting can also inculcate. They can also imbibe into the curriculum. It might not be the recognized one, but once a week, twice a week, it could be taught. It could be a skill that could be free on the campus, where they just go there and then they listen to people who have actually navigated paths when you talk about time management and know how to use their time. So these skills are quite elementary when we talk about the skills that could be taught and that could help students to cope while on campus.
I agree with you. You mentioned the student that prepared this project ahead of time.
Definitely.
I want to ask you, could more flexible graduation criteria or extended timelines help reduce stress for students at risks?
Well, this is a tricky one because you say a more flexible. There should be a balance when we're talking about whether a flexible criteria to graduation or a flexible way for them to easily go around carrying out their schooling activities. It could be tricky in a way that, when you talk about flexible, it must not be too flexible so that the academic and educational background is not affected. Presently, we have people lamenting that the graduates that our schools are producing are not employable. But yet, we are still having issues of emotional stress, emotional disorder, mental health, and all of this. Now, all of these things needs to be looked into. What do we mean by the flexibility in the academic world? Definitely, we are looking at unnecessary grievances from lecturers. Some lecturers will boldly tell it to your face and say, you will not graduate provided I am still here. All of these things are not needed. Even when the person is dull, you don't tell it to the person's face and kill the person's morale, kill everything and tell the person that you cannot graduate and all of this. Some will go as far as saying that you cannot have A. A is for my family, is for my people. That one is a normal norm that they say very well. So all of these things we can do away with them. They are not necessary. Some will go as far as just debunking project works that have been thoroughly done because of their own present situation. Although I am going to also look at the angle of the lecturers because our lecturers, many of them are overburdened. So they also now transfer aggressions. They transfer all of these workloads that are on their neck on students. I remember a lecturer a time ago, he told a student that you will not graduate until you finish this work for me. He said it because the student was far ahead. He told the student that you are not going to graduate except you do this my work. Now, he is transferring his workload by force on the student, forgetting that the student, number one, is source of livelihood. He don't know where he's getting it from, whether he has any means of getting it, because the student, from what I could gather then, he didn't provide whether data to carry out the work or any allowances to help or aid the work. So all of these grievances that lecturers also pour, I know it's as a result of the amount of workload that is being mounted on them. But all of this can be looked into, just like the way OAU is looking into a more flexible way to make it much easier for them. This news, like I said, is a news of last week, but we saw it as a very, very crucial matter and a very good one that schools also could imbibe, because students, so many students are dying in silence. Those ones that are not even committing suicide, they've had it up to a year, and then many of them are already looking at other options. We have this criminality on the campus is now very, very excessive. We see people going into Yahoo Yahoo. There's nothing like Yahoo Yahoo. They say it's Yahoo Plus, adding different things just to look for other ways, because they've given up on education, because they've made it so difficult. They've made education look as if it is a very, very big deal and you cannot make it. That is how some persons have painted it. So looking at a very flexible way to make things work will actually help students within these confines of their school.
Still looking on this, what can you say? The news had it that the university was looking at students that are having one or two courses to graduate, are thinking of offering a compassionate measure to allow such students graduate, thinking that such could affect them mentally and could be demoralizing. What can you say about this?
Yes, that's a beautiful one too. You know, there are so many aspects to this as well. Some students, due to a course or two, they are given extra year to complete, because they cannot, of course, have more than a particular unit registered for the section before the extra year. But there are so many ways this can be looked into. I remember there was a time a student was sick on campus. He was bedridden. There was nothing he could do. And there is nothing like you can receipt for exam. Exam that is gone is gone. If you cannot take that exam in your sick bed, on your sick bed, it is considered you were absent for that exam. So, in the light of this, I also give kudos to because basically this could have warranted, this situation I painted could have warranted a student having an extra year for just a course or two. So bringing out different measures to make the student cope is another one. They said they were considering waiver for any student that have an extra year. Like I said, when we talk about the flexibility, we should not overthink about it in just one aspect. We should look at it from various aspects. Now they are looking for a balance. Definitely, you cannot tell the school to pass a student that didn't come for an exam. You cannot tell a university to pass a student that failed a course. But creating a waiver, like removing the aspect of paying fees, is a good one. The students still have the extra year, but might not necessarily pay fees for the extra year. So that, I look at it as a very beautiful one, and it's a very good one for other schools to also emulate.
This discussion is brought about the decision taken by Oluwafemi Agboola University, and they were looking at on giving to students on compassionate ground, allowing them, those that have one or two courses, to graduate. They are still discussing probably it might become a policy.
Mm.
But even if any university that takes such policy, do you think such decision can undermine academic standard, or do you think it can devalue the degree of such graduating students?
Well, I would not, I would not advise that we take the whole of that, because if you say those who are having two courses to do possibly for an extra year should just go just like that, I feel it's might have a gross effect on our standards. Like I said earlier on, it would be a very good one if there is a waiver, like it is free. That is still fair. But if we have a way to consider maybe a course, because so many things, like I said, so many things could lead to failure. We have seen even brilliant ones fail a course due to different things could come up. Like I said, on the ground of illness, and anything could happen. Maybe a day before exam, the person just falls sick and all of that. So I will not advise schools to just swallow it hook, line, and sinker. I will just, if other ways can be considered, if the student can be examined, like the case of that exams, if exams can be retaken on these grounds, definitely with maybe a doctor's reports, it will actually help. It will go a long way. So that's another way they can come in and help.
Can we look at it this way? Is it possible for a university to look at the students whose performances have been encouraging?
Exceptional.
Probably those that have been hardworking. And unfortunately, at the time he's supposed to round up his course, and the cut-off is 40%, and he's getting 38%, 39%. And this is a good student, you can vouch that this student is one of the best students. He has been working hard. For one thing or the other, it could be due to illness, sickness, or one thing or the other, one or two causes. And I want to believe if the university make it clear that giving such waiver is not automatic, that such student that will be giving waivers, they will look at his past performances even on that course. What do you think?
Well, this is a very different hand, but it could be tricky. I have heard of story of students that was doing well until final year, and then the student got caught that this person has been into malpractice. So you cannot just, based on results, vouch that this person is an exceptional student. And I am of the opinion that what is good for the geese is also good for the gander. If you are going to consider an exceptional student that got 38, then you should be able to consider a student that is not exceptional that also had 38. I don't know if you got my point.
Yeah.
For instance, we have someone finishing with 4.5, but he has a course that he had 38, which is an F. And then we have another student finishing with possibly 2.1, and he also have a course and with the same 38. Will you consider the one with 4.5 that had 38 over the one that have 2.1 that had 38? They both have the same issue. So considering just the exceptionality of a student might be partial. And I am not of that opinion that we should use that metrics to measure and see whether this is the best way. I just feel there should be a policy and it should be followed strictly. Because by the time you start giving different, and the thing is not straight, the policy is not straight, I bet you lecturers will start taking advantage of it. Lecturers, it will not be on lecturers' ground. Should I consider it? Should I not consider it? With all of the things that are happening in schools now, lecturers take advantage of women, take advantage of men themselves, because it is vice versa. So if we give such messages that are not straight as well, lecturers also will use it as another bait to get whoever they want. So it should be made straight. If you want to consider this set of persons, there should be a policy that supports it, and it should be something that is well spelled out, and it's not having anything tricky.
I still want to agree with Mr. Jerry Alomatu that school policy should be objective. It should not be subjective. Now we go on a short break. this Shiloh Media Broadcasting Service, we've been discussing the student that made attempt to commit suicide at Oluwafemi University, Ile-Ife, and Mr. Jerry, thank you, Alomatu, has been on with me, giving justice to that. We have come to the conclusion that some measures could be abused, and that the school standard should not be subjective, and that the school should come up with some other measures that could assist students facing pressure in their academic work, facing various challenges. He has also told us of training, counselors that could aid such students. At this point, we want to move ahead to the next highlight on this show. Remember, we are on news and view. We are discussing next the Ondo State governorship election. Mr. Jerry,
Yes, sir.
the Ondo State governorship election took place last week.
Yes.
Before I bring up the headline, can you just say something brief?
That's another interesting part of the last weekend, because it was really an interesting one, and it came with surprises, because there were so many issues around some of the parties before the election. So that area is another interesting part I would love us to actually look into.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
The highlight. Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa of the APC has been declared the winner of the Ondo State governorship election with 366,781 votes, defeating PDP's Agboola Ajayi, who got 117,845 votes. Labour Party's Ayodele Oluwafemi, who came far behind, blamed his losses on Peter Obi and the Nigerian Labour Congress. He accused them of creating internal party division by supporting another candidate, Oluchola Ebisheni. Olorunfemi also alleged that a fake withdrawal letter was submitted to the court on his behalf without his consent. He vowed to petition the police for an investigation. He also claimed that this disrupted his election campaign because just after being cleared and reinstated by the ruling court, that is fit to contest for that election. But, however, the NSC responded to this allegation from Mr. Oluwafemi. The NSC denied the accusations, describing Oluwafemi as a placeholder who tried to sell his ticket to Ebisheni. They also alleged that he might have indirectly worked to support the APC. The APC decisive win highlights the challenges within the Labour Party, which may have caused them in the polls. Mr. Jerry Aloma, this governorship election, can you let us know who actually won the election?
Well, it's quite obvious. It is written everywhere on the media, everywhere, that yes, His Excellency Lucky Ayedatiwa won the election convincingly, because winning the whole 18 local governments, definitely, what is left to argue about? So it was a convincing win. It was something that nobody could even argue it. Even from almost before INEC even declared the winner, everybody already knew he was the winner. So there was nothing actually under the cover that wasn't exposed even right from the D-Day the election took place.
The Labour Party also participated in this election. What challenges did his candidate Ayodele Oluwafemi face?
Well, you know, there are so many controversial issues surrounding the issue of Labour Party. You know, he has spoken, Mr. Oluwafemi has spoken to that effect, saying that Peter Obi and NLC actually cost him that election. But how we see, well, I want to look at it from this angle. Throwing stones or throwing blames presently really doesn't count. And then making all of this, I don't know, there are still allegations that has not been proven that they actually sent letter to withdraw him from the election without his consent and all of that. Everything he said, he will petition that. But yeah, there's something I want to actually note. When we talk about the Labour Party, of course, what we usually have is APC, PDP. There was nothing like Labour Party. But something changed the narrative. A man changed the narrative, Peter Obi. So Peter Obi is now one of the driving force when we talk about the Labour Party. Peter Obi is now having a strong root. And that's why you could see them with such votes in the presidential election, almost 6 million votes in the presidential election. It has never happened in the Nigerian history, right from when we started practicing this presidential system of government. It has never happened. So he has become a strong force. So blaming him, well, one way or the other, I will still look at this as justifiable because he knows that he is a driving force. He understands that this person is influential. If he had his back completely, no division in the party, definitely it would have, if not even win, at least the result they got was quite embarrassing. It is not what Labour Party has been known for ever since the presidential election. But, well, I will still look at it as all of these things as allegation, and it's really had gross effects in this election that just got concluded.
How did the NSC respond to this allegation?
Well, the NSC also responded saying that it's just a placeholder. They said all of that because that's, I believe it's from their possibly investigation and all of that, but they saw him as just a placeholder, wanting to get money from whoever is vying for that position.
Ebisheni.
Yes, Ebisheni. Or even if it were not to be Ebisheni, anybody that has the money. It's just like I occupy a position that I am not wanting to pursue. Now I'm just needing someone who wants to pursue that ambition to come pay for it. And then I make money out of it. That is what NLC actually said. That's why they called him a placeholder. And they said his conversation, or what he is actually saying, shouldn't be taken seriously. Those are the allegations or the comments NLC actually made, that they should not take him seriously, and all of this thing is just an act, and they are not even sure if he's just holding a place and maybe making a move for the opposition party APC. So all of these things, I think, will be cleared up better when the court has given their verdict to this.
There is a little bit confusion with all these allegations. It is alleged that Oluwafemi wanted to, is a placeholder, wanting to sell his ticket to Ebisheni, and at the same time, there was a claim that he collected some millions from him, and that Ebisheni was, and eventually he did not withdraw his candidacy from contesting. And looking at this, that both Peter Obi and the NLC chairman, acting chairman, seems to be supporting, it is an alleged, supporting the candidacy of Ebisheni for to represent their party in the election. Don't you think this allegation that Oluwafemi initially supporting Ebisheini and he was interested in selling his stand, and eventually that he refused to give up. What can you say to that?
Well, when we talk about the game of politics, it is quite usually not as simple as it sounds, because NLC or Peter Obi actually sided with a part or said something against uh, Mr. Oluwafemi. That's not enough facts put together for us to say, okay, this is what actually happened or this is what actually happened. But I believe, like I said earlier, in order to be able to get both sides, represent both sides very well, I believe it will be a very good one when Mr. Olong goes to the court, petitions, make petitions against them, and then we see the outcome of this. We'll be able to get valid uh, facts as regard the issues surrounding Labour Party.
That is good. Before we go on a short break, what impact do you think this internal dispute have on Labour Party?
Well, the next election is 2027, and I would say, from the look of things, or from the way our politics has been going since 1999, we noticed that from 1999, the PDP had larger amounts of states, governors occupying all of these states from PDP. It made it very easy for PDP to attain to the presidential position. And what did the APC do when they were going to attain that position? They started winning some of these states eventually, one after the other, before they had the considerable number they have presently. So if the Labour Party has gotten this state also to himself or to herself, it would have been a boost. It would have been a big boost. Looking at the fact that, okay, they have one in Abia already. And then looking at Ondo, if they have gotten Ondo as well, it would have been a very, very good one to start with, and then to contest for the 2027 presidential election. So that helped them on a bigger scale. So that assisted and given them more grounds when we talk about, what's it called? When we talk about the presidential election. Well, like you said, when we come back from the short break, we'll continue on this discussion.
This is Shiloh Media Broadcasting Service. I bet you have been following. We are discussing Ondo State governorship election with Mr. Jerry Alomatu. Mr. Jerry Alomatu, can you tell us what lesson can we say Labour Party got from this incident and the outcome of this election?
Well, I would not say a lesson that Labour Party alone has learned. It is a lesson I believe everyone could learn from the outcome of this incident. Like we say, divided will always fall, or united will stand. So it is a lesson that everyone can also learn from. When you call yourself a political party, like when we were in school, they say political party, they have the same opinion, they have the same objective, have everything together. All of their decisions, they agree together to make so that they can get a target goal. So basically, it is a big loss to them. To me, I usually say they might have not won. Labour Party might have not won if they were united, but they would have gotten, would I say, fans, followers. It would have increased because each campaign, I believe, usually have effects on the people. People will see one thing and then emulate. People will see one thing and then say, okay, for this reason, I'll follow these people. For this reason. So they would have increased their followership even if they have not won. So it is a big loss to them. And then it is, well, I would not say a shameful one. They still had a number of votes, although it was quite nothing compared to what we have been seeing in other states. So this isn't just a lose to Labour Party, it's also a lose to anybody that doesn't believe in unity, because united always stand. United always get results than being divided. Although Oluwafemi had part of his allegations made saying if he had started campaigning on time, because it's of recent he was granted the permission by courts that he should go ahead, that he still remains the candidate. So possibly if he had started on time, he might have gotten better figures than they got in this outcome. So to me, that's just my humble observation.
I want to believe that looking at the Labour Party, I want to believe there is no clear leadership structure. And I also want to believe that there is no enough trust among members, and which I believe is causing this division among the party. And wherever there is division among party leaders and members, I believe such party is not fit to win, and it's difficult for such party to win election. Do you agree with me, Mr. Loma?
I completely agree with you, but at the same time I disagree. Because most of these parties, when we talk about PDP, when we talk about APC, when we talk about ASDP, when we talk about all of these parties coupled together, they all have their inner fights. They all have divisions. So, well, like I said, divided will always fall. But yet, they need one another to get results. But that doesn't mean that they will not have reasons to disagree on issues. We are not saying there shouldn't be issues. Even amidst families, we have issues. But it should be something just within. It should not be something that is now on the social media everywhere. You are now pushing out your own inner fight that everybody knows about. So that is just my humble take. So.
All right, Mr. Jerry, thank you very much. It still stands that Nigerian political parties should establish a clearer leadership structures and build strong trust among members. This is still Shiloh Media Broadcasting Service, and that will be all for night, but stay tuned for more updates on this program on daily. Stay with Shiloh Media. Don't forget to follow us on our YouTube and our Facebook. Thank you.